もっと大きく力強く、もっと優しく温かく、味わい深いスーパースターでありたい。はじける美味しさポーク&ビーフ、伊藤ハムのバイエルン。
Byron is a superstar. Yeah.
I'm gonna rip his heart out. I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me. Lynx is a conqueror. No, I'm Alexander. He's no Alexander. I'm the best ever. There's never been anybody as ruthless. I'm Sonny Liston. I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me. I'm from their club. There's no one that can match me. My style is impetuous. My defense is impregnable. And I'm just ferocious. I want your heart. I want to eat his children.
私は美味しいハムを届けます。
あなたに美味しい糸ハム。
私のプライド、伝承の味、伊藤ハムの贈り物。
もっと大きく力強く、もっと優しく温かく、味わい深いスーパースターでありたい。はじける美味しさポーク&ビーフ、伊藤ハムのバイエルン。
Byron, it's a superstar. Yeah.
Deep within a bleak and dismal swamp, hidden beneath its murky waters, lies the headquarters of the most sinister villains of all time. A Legion of Doom.
Crushed and crumbled. I'm not sure if it's safe to report from my vantage point. I really need to leave. So the fences inform me that the surrounding areas are in ruin. I see some people running now. And the opinion of this reporter, if this nation, or in fact the world, ever needed heroes, that time is now. That time is now.
Will come to order. The Legion of Doom is now in session.
Incontesté à la lutte professionnelle contre Joe le Duc, l'homme fort de Godbout, Québec, avec Adrien Desbois comme arbitre et celui qui quitte l'arène présentement, le gérant de King Tang, Tarzan la bottine Tyler. Et pour m'assister dans la présentation de ce match, Gino Brideau. Salut Gino.
André Bellil, on va voir tout un combat parce que comme tu peux voir, c'est deux styles complètement différents. King Tanga, c'est la vitesse, la science, Joe le Duc, la force brute.
Et le combat est en marche. Tanga devant Joe le Duc dont la corpulence et la force physique lui ont permis de vaincre de très grands noms à la lutte professionnelle. Et ce Tanga qui est en train de se bâtir toute une réputation. Un seul homme a réussi à le battre jusqu'à maintenant, Dino Bravo. Bravo a perdu son titre devant ce même King Tanga à l'aréna Bob Guertin de Hull dans un combat spectaculaire.
Je crois pas que Joe le Duc prenne Tanga à la légère, André. Comme tu peux voir, il sait que le gars sait très bien lutter. Puis lui aussi, il a une bonne corpulence. C'est un homme fort. Et rajoute à ça la vitesse, la science, le karaté, le judo, le jiu-jitsu, tout ça, parce que c'est un maître dans tous ces domaines. Et tu vois que c'est toute une pièce d'homme à affronter.
Tanga qui n'a pas été dans une condition physique comme l'image vous le démontre présentement. C'est un bonhomme qui a changé complètement de méthode, qui a déjà fait du sumo et qui est maintenant un lutteur d'une rare qualité. Je pense qu'il faut donner à Tanga ce qui lui revient. Gino, c'est vraiment un athlète remarquable.
Et en partant, André, comme tu sais, il a défait mon très bon ami, Dino Bravo. Il a pris la ceinture.
Et contreprise ici de King Tanga, et les clés de jambes de l'arrière et qui semble ennuyer beaucoup d'athlètes de Godbout. L'arbitre Adrien Desbois s'est adressé à le Duc, mais c'est pas ça qui va déranger.
On a vu le Duc, André, lutter contre le bourreau. Il n'a jamais été par terre. Contre Tanga, il est déjà rendu. touché par terre. Et puis Tanga, c'est lui qui a l'avantage, là.
Tanga qui est aussi très fort, extrêmement rapide, de lutte pieds nus, comme vous pouvez le voir à l'écran. Et le Duc qui a beaucoup de mal à se débarrasser de l'emprise de Tanga, qui applique la pression avec son genou gauche et retient solidement la prise contre le Duc, qui devra tenter quelque chose pour s'en sortir. Mais pas de cette façon, mon Joe.
Non, on peut voir que là, Tanga n'essaie pas de battre Joe le Duc, il veut seulement le fatiguer, l'épuiser. Et puis, je crois qu'il se prend vraiment d'un très bon moyen de le faire. Parce qu'un homme fort comme Joe le Duc enlève-y ses jambes, et puis c'est là qu'il peut le maganer.
Ici, Tanga qui vient de frapper le Duc aux côtes pour le ramener au tapis. Le Duc n'a pas eu du choix et cherche un moyen de s'en sortir. Tanga qui non seulement est très fort, mais aussi très constant dans ses prises. C'est un bonhomme qui est patient surtout. Et là, eh bien, le bris sera demandé par l'arbitre Adrien Desbois, puisque les deux hommes sont rendus tout près des câbles. Et Desbois ici devrait demander à Tanga de libérer le Duc, ce qui est fait. Le Duc qui s'attaque à Tanga et qui a l'intention de le frapper, le maintient solidement à la gorge. Et là, c'est le Duc qui est passé à l'offensive, ce qui oblige Tanga à retraiter en dehors de l'arène.
Très intelligent de la part de Tanga, André, parce que pourquoi manger un coup en bas de l'arène, son gérant le confirme, c'était un très bon move, comme on dit. Et puis Joe le Duc, bien, il est un peu frustré, là, parce qu'à date, là, il n'a pas très bien paru devant Tanga.
Le Duc qui devra absolument se servir de son bagage d'expérience, parce que Tanga est d'une qualité assez rare de nos jours dans la lutte professionnelle. Non seulement il est puissant, non seulement il est champion, et c'est pas pour rien qu'il l'est devenu d'ailleurs, mais c'est un bonhomme qui est patient. Je me plais à le répéter, très patient. Tous les combats que j'ai vus de Tanga, il a toujours attendu le moment opportun, et lorsqu'il attaque, c'est une machine infernale.
Je crois aussi, André, que ça ne sera pas de l'influence d'un gars comme Tarzan Tyler, que je pourrais apprécier plus Tanga, parce que je le sais que c'est un gars qui est capable de lutter. Et parfois, quand il y a des moments rudes, bien, je crois que c'est l'influence d'un Tarzan Tyler ou d'un Sailor White, un gars comme ça, qui l'influence à devenir un peu plus vicieux et mauvais.
Eh bien, moi, si tu me permets cette figure de style, la bottine est en bas et le vrai lutteur est en haut.
Justement.
Tanga qui vient d'essuyer un solide coup au visage de Joe le Duc, qui le ramène maintenant dans les câbles. Et la
une
volée
savate d'un gars de 300 livres.
Tanga qui, au compte de 2, résiste à la poussée de le Duc, qui maintient maintenant un collier arrière.
Et André, qu'est-ce que tu en penses de Joe le Duc d'une savate?
300 livres dans les airs, c'est comme un 747 qui vient de s'envoler.
Auparavant, j'ai dit que Joe le Duc se fiait à sa force, mais je peux voir qu'il peut faire d'autres choses.
Le Duc, que j'aurais bien vu sur la ligne des Cowboys de Dallas ou des Concordes de Montréal, ça aurait fait un bon joueur de ligne.
Oui, si quand j'avais 20 ans, si peut-être il serait lancé dans ce domaine-là. Comme tu sais, c'est un gars de bois, puis il est venu dans la lutte professionnelle.
Regardez les bras de le Duc qui maintiennent cette prise, un collier arrière qui semble déranger beaucoup l'athlète qu'est King Tanga.
Si Joe le Duc a connu le succès qu'il a connu, André, il faut donner crédit à son frère Paul, que maintenant il ne lutte plus malheureusement, il a eu une attaque de cœur et qui est retiré de la lutte compétitive. Et puis c'est lui maintenant qui guide la carrière de son frère Joe.
Tanga, la prise est légale selon Adrien Desbois. Tanga est au tapis, à genoux. Et le Duc qui, dans les premiers instants du combat, avait été largement ennuyé par une clé de jambe, eh bien, fait subir à Tanga la pression. Et le résultat, en fait, c'est d'une force qui est celle de Joe le Duc. Maintenant, amené dans les câbles, Desbois demande de bris. Tanga va peut-être se retirer, mais je le soupçonne de vouloir frapper parce qu'il est présent. Voilà, c'est fait. De la tête, de l'épaule. Et coup de judo, coup de karaté à la figure, coup de poing à la tête. Tanga avec autre coup de karaté.
C'est un Tanga déchaîné qu'on voit là.
Qui expédie le Duc dans les cas. Oh, la
très belle
savate de Tanga. Ici. Quelle magnifique technique du lutteur. Oh là, c'est un coup de karaté et un deuxième porté à main ouverte à la gorge de le Duc qui a été largement ébranlé. Coup de poing à la nuque, le Duc qui est ébranlé, qui a du mal. Oh, ça batte de côté. Et ça prend énormément d'entraînement pour réussir à si courte distance ce genre de mouvement.
C'est vrai, André, un gars de 265. Regarde comment il vient de lever Joe le Duc, pareil que c'est un club.
Là, Tanga, qui semble satisfait de lui, s'adresse à la foule et demande à le Duc de se relever. J'ai déjà vu Tanga un peu plus vicieux que cela.
Eh bien, j'ai jamais vu Joe le Duc dans une aussi mauvaise posture que là, André.
Effectivement, en fourchement, il est rabattu à la hauteur du troisième câble. La Tanga devrait se servir de sa médecine à l'abdomen particulièrement, comme il le fait souvent. Voilà, c'est fait. Un deuxième de la part de Tanga, un troisième, un quatrième. Eh bien, M. Tanga s'en donne à cœur joie. Mais...
Je me demande pourquoi Quadrien Desbois le disqualifie pas.
Qui s'amène dans l'arène? Qui c'est, ça? C'est ce gars-là, Gino.
Ça, je comprends plus rien, c'est la merveille masquée.
Eh bien, la merveille masquée est loin de m'émerveiller parce que là, ils sont à 2 contre 1 sur un homme. Mais là, il se passe des problèmes là. Je ne sais pas ce qui se passe, mais Desbois vient de disqualifier, en effet, King Tanga et la merveille masquée qui s'en prennent à le Duc ensemble. Dans les câbles, oh! Eh bien, le Duc ici vient d'être abattu solidement dans l'arène. Et là, la merveille masquée, King Tanga qui s'en donne à cœur joie. Eh bien, Gino, où tu vas, là? Ne sois pas tout seul avec ces fous-là. Tanga et la merveille masquée. Eh bien là, le Duc en prend pour son rhume. Je vais perdre mon analyste. Non, mon Gino, gardez aller, je le savais que ça allait, là. Et voilà, c'est parti. Monsieur Tanga. Eh bien, Gino, ton complet. Je sais pas s'il m'entend, là. Eh bien, le Duc, lui, est sonné dans le centre de l'arène pendant que Tyler est tout fier de ce qu'il vient de voir, mais King Tanga est disqualifié avec l'intervention de la merveille masquée, puis moi, j'ai perdu mon analyste. Mon Gino Brito en haut, avec Joe le Duc qui est sonné. Eh bien, comme début d'émission, c'est bon. Je me demandais où était passé Gino, il n'en pouvait plus. Il est en train presque de me serrer les ouïes, tellement il avait envie d'y aller, je n'ai pas été capable de retenir, alors il est au centre de l'arène. Je vais décrire pour vous les dernières images de ce combat, le Duc très ébranlé qui se relève, et l'arbitre qui lui lève le bras en signe de victoire par disqualification de King Tanga, en raison de la présence de la merveille masquée, et d'un Tarzan Tyler qui lui a regardé ça comme si de rien n'était. Alors, victoire de l'homme fort de Godbout, Joe le Duc, après la disqualification de ce champion qui est King Tanga.
Super programme de lutte se représenté au centre sportif Paul Sauvé. Igor contre Sailor White. King Tanga contre Tony Cannonball Parisi. Et l'autre finale, nul autre que Superstar contre Joe le Duc. La revanche de Joe le Duc, on sait que Superstar a blessé Paul le Duc et c'est une revanche, monsieur Tarzan.
Parlez-en à mon Superstar, s'il vous plaît, parle très bien.
You know, Joe LeDoux thinks he's a very, very smart man. He thinks he's got friends in high places. But actually, they might be your enemies. Because I have wanted this match, not you. This is going to be your new home, Joe LeDuc. This is going to be your new car, your brand new vehicle. You're going to be traveling in style once again. We just started when we hurt your brother. We had to force you into the ring because you don't have an ounce of guts. You don't have nothing inside. And Joe LeDuc, we're going to see how tough you are. No more excuses, no more crybabies, no more telling everybody, if I can get him in there by myself, I'll tear him apart. Well, we're in there, and I'm by myself, and we'll see who gets torn apart.
Et t'es cherché le corps à vidange, Joe le Duc. C'est pour te prouver quelque chose, pour te montrer quelque chose. Lundi soir, mon Joe le Duc, avec ton petit frère, petit Paul, c'est dans le corps à vidange qu'on va vous mettre après que le combat va être fini. Puis on va demander aux vidangeurs le lendemain matin de vous ramasser sur le bord de la route, puis aller vous porter au dépotoir à Deschamps pour qu'on soit débarrassé de vous autres pour toujours, les Ducs, comprends-tu? On veut plus vous avoir dans nos jambes. Le Superstar veut plus te voir, puis ni moi non plus, pas encore moins l'infirme à ton frère Paul. On se débarrasse de vous autres, les idiots, sans pas le sauver, pour toujours dans le corps à vidange.
3 grandes finales au Paul Sauvé. Igor contre Siller White. Et une autre finale qui promet beaucoup d'action, c'est celle de King Tonga contre Tony Cannonball Parisi. Et comme des raisons, Superstar contre Joe le Duc. Et je pense que c'est une revanche à ne pas manquer, Joe.
Simulé, c'est un combat de revanche contre Superstar. Je sais que il y a peut-être des gens qui se doutent de ce qui est arrivé à mon frère Paul. Il a été attaqué, on l'a dit dans le passé, il a été attaqué dans le dos. Paul n'est pas un lutteur, ça fait 7 ans qu'il lutte plus. Mais moi, je suis un lutteur. Superstar, Tarzan, la bottine Tyler, vous avez une grande gueule. Vous parlez de corps à vidange puis de déchets. Vous seriez mieux de vous regarder un peu dans le miroir avant de parler. Quand je vais embarquer dans l'arène, lundi soir au centre Paul Sauvé, je vais faire de mon mieux pour vous faire envaler vos paroles. Pas seulement à Superstar, mais à vous aussi, M. Tarzan, la bottine Tyler. J'aimais ça vous mêler des business des autres. Vous allez avoir la chance. You know, Superstar, you got a big mouth. You also have a big garbage can you play with. But mind you, mister, you're a stranger. I do have friends and I do have people that like me around here because I am from around here. And one more thing you forgot. The person you hurt is my blood brother. And you're not going to do it again because I'm going to take care of that. So Monday night, get in there and be in good shape because I am.
Okay.
And welcome back to the Iwar Network Tubecast. I'm your host, Alex G. And with me this evening, we have Derek Tuttle, we have Matt Riley, and we have Scott Franklin. What's going on tonight, gentlemen?
Everything.
Everything and nothing.
Everything at the same time. Action-packed night.
I don't see your audio going up and down when you guys talk. So, yeah. So, guys, let me know in the chat if you can hear everyone else other than myself.
Are we on YouTube live?
You are on YouTube live.
Okay. I'll go on the YouTube. I'll tell you if I can hear it. Because I have a two computer setup.
It's just low on their end.
All right. Mike says no.
So you can hear me fine.
All right. Now it's echoing.
So you can hear me fine.
Try to turn it down. Oh, Ray's dad is pissed. Look at him. That's. Tell him, no Truffle. Nowadays, the customers who are getting mad. You can hear him. Darren, can you hear me?
I don't know why they're low. Because on my end, they're at 100%, but...
Yeah. I'm assuming Darren is I play IWA. Oh, Mike Sanders. Above average Mike Sanders?
Oh. All right, so your lights are up. So they should be able to hear you guys now.
Mm-hmm.
So...
There they are. Tell me, Darren. Tell me,
Skippy.
sweet, sweet nothings. Here I am. Below average. That's not true.
That's what my wife says.
Wow, that's like the title of my autobiography, A Series of Disappointments, the Derek Tuttle story. Forward written by my mother.
No.
Free Quebec.
Free Quebec. No, there's no Free Quebec fans. They don't exist.
I'm hoping I can get my dogs in here. That'd be sweet.
Da-da-da-da-da.
Okay.
None of us pictured either, so that's good.
Well, no, because you guys are frozen, and I don't know why. So, I play Matt's crappy internet.
Gotta get that business internet.
Comcast. Thanks, Comcast.
Same here. We're hoping to have AT&T fiber in my neighborhood soon. I hope.
I'm gonna get Starlink and call it a day.
Ooh,
Starlink.
Get on it. All right, I'm looking at this bracket while we start. Please fill
Baylor
it in.
as my dark horse. Like they're a good team, but like I don't know why.
I think a 4 or a 5 is probably the one like going to sneak in. So I'm looking at my 4s and 5s. FAU is a good team still.
Who?
Florida Atlantic. They were a team that went to the Final Four last year. They're still pretty good. San Diego State. That's another dark horse.
I do have Purdue on the revenge tour because they're going to be coming back. They got knocked out last year, first round.
Yeah.
That was that first 16 seed to knock them off.
Alabama is good. That's like a 4. Kansas is a 4. Gonzaga is always good. Love a good table.
Oh, there we go. That's great.
I feel like we're at the Central Perk.
It's funny because I don't see it on my end, which is hilarious.
I only see it on my Chromebook. I don't see it on the YouTube part. I see Savage being the best ever.
Savage is one of the best ever, for sure.
I do the Savage point at work at least once a day. Usually the customers don't understand why.
Is this the match from the Missing Matches thing?
I'm not sure. This is his invasion, though.
I think this is the match. If there's a power driver on the table, it's 100% that match. Nice. I'll tell you. I'll keep an eye on it because it's pretty good. I love Lance Russell's voice too. He's like, "Oh, come on,
he's everyone's grandpa."
Yeah,
he's so good. He's like,
"Come on, Terry.
Come on,
Dick-sucking dog. You're yellow."
Terry Funk is so great. God, Terry's great. Terry's a hard person because like you could put him on your Mount Rushmore of guy. Like he'd be like the Mount Rushmore of people that make other people. Like it's him, Foley.
I have number one. I have him ranked number one, just for longevity, influence.
Yeah,
he's a movie star. He was on goddamn Quantum Leap.
He was.
I'd put Foley up there as like the newer Funk in terms of if you really think about all the people that Foley made and how important he really was. Like no one ever thinks about it. And it's super important. He's super important.
Yeah,
because when Michael's title reign, to make him a little tougher, that Mind Games match is so good, and then when Austin wins the belt, there's really nobody who's ready for Austin, and they get 3 matches out of it. And then when they're ready to turn Rock and do that whole thing, it's Foley. When Triple H needs an edge in his title run, it's Foley. When you need Orton to get over, it's Foley. We need Edge to get over.
Undertaker
it's Foley.
too. Don't forget, Undertaker was fighting fucking koalas and Giant Gonzalez's.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's just his what he's done is just, you cannot understate it at all. And I don't even know who else is in there. Like, I don't know. It's hard to find another guy that's up there with those two guys.
It's amazing.
But yeah.
So guys, this will be the what is this? This is the
We're into the March.
March 2024.
The match cycle review.
Match,
kid. Match madness. Get some Q&A from Johnny B.
Ooh.
Yeah, let's start with the Q&A. I know everyone's on the edge of their seat, and then I have a big announcement right after that.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
All right. Trivia for episode 166. All right. Johnny B says, referring to match cards, Alex inquired, what has been the largest attendance? Johnny B. Jr. I'm ashamed to admit that we've never taken the time to track that important statistic. But the number of fans at card locations can vary from 50 to 50,000, depending on league activity. Unless the commissioner has customized their league, matches will take place at a portion of the 332 cities in our database, and each will last anywhere from 15 seconds to a half hour up to a full hour for main event matches. All right. Who's in the mood for more numbers? I am. Oh, boy.
Love some numbers.
All right. There are currently 567 player-owned wrestlers in the Iwar leagues, 328 of whom, okay. 328 of whom were active this cycle, and only 11 of whom outside the BWL are registered as female. The Iwar network is also home to 261 jobbers for a total of 828 competitors. If you combine all the non-jobbers and one Uber grappler, their record would be 268,512 wins, 93,538 losses, 15,308 ties,
Ultimate Ice,
6,681 stars, and 620. That's at million, $620,780,799 in earnings. Wow. The average non-jobber stats are 474 wins, 165 losses, 27 draws, 12 stars, and just over $1 million at 1.094851 in the bank. And their rank is 33. Their average number is 128. And their most recent strategy is worth 479 points, which is better than most guys when counting both active and inactive wrestlers. If you include those who are active, that average increases to 489 points, leaving an average of 465 for those inactive bums. Merging all of the Iwar jobbers into one mega talent enhancer would result in a very sad wrestler with 848 wins, 278,390 losses, 16 ties, and 0 stars. But a mighty respectable 25,785,700 saved for retirement. The average carpenter has only 3 stars to their name. Average carpenter. It must have been voice to text. The average carpenter.
That's another name for a jobber.
Oh, is it?
Karen Carpenter is very good, though. Just funny.
Karen Carpenter. She's dead. Oh. The average carpenter has only 3 wins to their name.
Her voice lives on in her music, though. So.
That's true. 1,067 losses, and she was a good drummer. 0 ties and stars, and a paltry $98,769 a show for their career, filled with sacrifices. Their rank is 105. Their number is 58, and there are 15 holds that add up to 323 points. Wow. That's Jobber City. All right, next, shifting gears. During the previous episode, Alex was talking about match write-ups, and it made me think back to Attaway's early days when managers would pay $1 a piece for official match printouts, which listed both combatants' holds one by one, along with which hold was the stronger of each step. Whenever a match ended due to the 6 holds in a row rule, count out or disqualification, the player would find that they had paid a whole dollar sheet of paper containing the wrestlers' names and roughly 6 additional lines of text. In our defense, we had to process those requests manually and weighing the envelopes in question separately. In each case, pages push it over the standard limit. This feature wasn't a runaway success, but it wasn't exactly a failure either. Nowadays, of course, the internet allows managers to compare strats instantly and for free, as long as you do so after the results are posted on our website. We have no objections, but some would argue that discussing hold choices beforehand is tantamount to cheating. Kidding aside, we prefer to take neutral stance on the issue. I will say this, in one of our Ioway throwback pages, one of the first ones we did was from 1987, and it was Superstar Rick Riley against Hot Rod Hoven. And it was like, it had the little move thing. You might actually have it in your collection, Alex.
I may.
All right, so, okay, here we go. Here's a good page for all the rookies to hear about. And it actually mentions some of them. So here we go. And now for a friendly reminder that when challenging a champion for the title, it's a good idea to use the codes listed after their ID numbers on the front page of the League Bulletin. For example, if an NWA player possessed the confidence to face the reprobate Lanny Teague for his Central Plains Championship, they could sign a match against ID 503 instead of using Teague's normal ID number of 257. We introduced these special codes at the beginning of 2020, and not only do they enable you to submit title matches without even glancing at the front page, they also prevent the unpleasant situation in which you schedule a match against a regional champion using their ID number, but an error is discovered after the printed bulletins are mailed, and that affects one or more title holders. So you then lose a chance to gain the belt because your wrestler challenge no longer has it. By signing against 503, you ensure that your grapplers you'll be facing, whoever is currently wearing the Central Plains title. In a perfect world, there would be no reason for such codes to exist. Unfortunately, the results in the printed bulletins are occasionally incorrect on an exceptionally rare basis, so using the codes instead of ID numbers protects you in the extremely unlikely event. And it says, finally, a related query for our esteemed hosts. You get to experience Attaway's mistakes firsthand, but did any of you ever commit a blunder of biblical proportions on a job? Please limit your responses to incidents in which the only true victim was your pride. So, errors at work. I will say this isn't so much an error, but I had a customer who was really rude to one of my coworkers, and she was very stern and was like berating her because she got a bunch of chocolates and didn't want any of them broken. They should all be, perfect. So I went over to help bag, and as I bagged, I smashed every one of them in the bottom of the bag. So I'm sure she called the store completely enraged, but it was worth it. I'm trying to think of a bad mistake I made at work.
I don't really make mistakes, but hilarity does seem to follow me wherever I go. I once had a woman who was very angry with me throw a high heel shoe at me, which I proceeded to catch and threw back and hit her right in the face.
Ooh.
And she's like,
Nice.
Why'd you throw the shoe? And I'm like, I thought we were playing catch.
Ooh.
And did you lose your job?
No. We watched it on video like 6 times, though, because it was hilarious.
Is the video out there somewhere?
Yeah, there's a video somewhere out there.
Like if I type up shoe store employee, smash this lady in the face with a shoe.
Well, she was very angry with me. She shouldn't be throwing shoes, first of all. And I threw it back, and I mean, other than the random hey, listen, I went to pass gas and it wasn't all gas situations that happened to me.
You were the shit pants champ.
That happened to me last week, so I had to buy new pants.
Oh, that's a devastating mistake.
I don't have a lot of good mistakes, but I have funny name stories from teaching.
Okay.
I could give you one right now. I have it in the top of my head.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Okay. So my first year of teaching, which is like I'm in my 18th year now. So I go down and look at the roll, and this is 2006. So I look down at the roll and I see Kanya, and Kanye West is a very popular artist, so I think it's Kanya. I say Kanya, and the girl raises her hand. She goes, "No, it's Kanya." Okay.
Oh boy.
Kanya. I looked down at her last name, and it's Dume, and I'm assuming she's Haitian. It's French, so it's Dume. She goes, "No, Coach, it's Dumi." The girl's name was Kanya Dumi. I'm not making this up. Kanya Dumi.
Oh boy,
pretty good one. That's a good. I didn't have a good mistake story, but I love the Kanya Dumi story is too good. I mean, I'm sure I made tons of mistakes at work, but I can't think of a. I had a kid when I was working in a school when I first moved to Port St. Lucie in the hood that he came out with his class, and his teacher scared the kids so bad that she had them in a line with their hands behind their back, walking perfect, right? And as soon as he came out the door and his teacher left, he took his shirt off and he had no shirt on. And he's like, "I'm out of dress code. I'm out of dress code." And then he ran out to the field, ran up the fence around our field, did a backflip. And so I call the behavior people to come get him. And as I'm bringing him inside, he bites me.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So like I drop him because he's like, I'm holding him and he bites me. He lands flat on his back on this concrete. He gets up and he comes in. You know that episode where Bart is running at Lisa and he's swinging his arm?
Yeah.
And he's like,
Yeah.
"If I hit you, it's your fault." He's like swinging at me like that. And he's in kindergarten. And the behavior tech comes and gets him and takes him away. But that's another fun story. I have a.
If this was Johnny B's day, he would have beat him with a paddle.
Yeah. I will give you one not a work related but a life related mistake I made. I was going to a comic book store, and as I was walking towards the door, there was this kid in a hoodie, and he's like, "Hey man, can you buy me something?" And I'm like, "I'll be right out," And I go inside, and I think if I wait long enough, he won't be there. When I come out, he's still there, and he's like, "Hey, listen, man, I got cigarettes, but I don't have a lighter, and they won't give me matches in there. They don't." I'm like, "Oh." He's like, "Yeah, I just need matches to light my cigarette." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I go in the store and I ask for matches, and the guy's like, "Oh, we don't have matches." I'm like, "Oh, you know what? Give me a lighter. I'll buy a lighter." So I buy a lighter, and I go outside and I go to give the kid the lighter, and his fingers are all like, he has thumbs that are normal, but his fingers are all like nub fingers. I don't know. It's a disease that causes like your finger to grow like you only have like one little nub each hand. Like
so he couldn't use the lighter because he had no fingers.
Not thinking, I go, "Here you go," and I throw it to him. But surprise is he like uses his elbows to kind of like corral it in, catch it in his belly, and then he like he's like, "Oh, thanks, man, I appreciate it." Yeah. And I'm feeling really good about this. I'm like, I did my good deed for the day. The last thing he says is, "They won't let me have matches at the home." And all I think of is this poor kid went somewhere and lit it on fire, and I'm like,
sure did.
"Oh, just trying to do the right thing, But like, job-wise, I'm trying to think of like errors I've ever made at work. Like, I mean, things happen. You drop. Like at work, I actually, when I'm training someone new at Trader Joe's, I tell them how we break everything every day, and they're always kind of like, "Oh, whatever." And I grab like a can of soda or a can of like beans, and I smash it. I'm like, "See, don't worry about it. Not a big deal." So I don't know, Scott. You got any good oopsies besides hiring me for your show? I had this guy wrestling a mask.
That one.
Who had never wrestled a mask before. Oops.
Nothing really. The county is exactly what it is. Just to drains your soul.
So I recently bought, because I'm in charge of break room snacks, I bought 2 cases of Squirt for everyone because I thought it was hilarious. and everyone enjoyed the squirt. It was the strangest thing. Like we ran out of squirt in 2 days.
I love squirts.
Well, yes, we know, but
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I love the squirt.
Next up, I'm going to find cases of Mellow Yellow and buy that.
Nice.
I was going to find Mellow Yellow Zero. That's my jam. But they never have it. I don't find it anywhere except the Coke Freestyle.
Is Mellow Yellow still a thing?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I have it up here.
So that was a Dusty Rhodes endorsement for Mellow Yellow.
I remember.
Yeah.
Ooh, the Mellow Yellow difference. So, Alex, you have a big announcement?
I have a huge announcement that's going to rock the IWA to its core. Recently, I purchased a new automobile. So, congratulations to me on that. I bought a 1997 Camaro Z28 because I make poor financial decisions.
So not a Tesla, not a motorcycle, but a
1997
Z28.
Camaro Z28. Yeah, I've already.
Nice.
It is black.
Yeah.
I took out the back seats, so now I don't have any back seats because I'm cool. And hopefully this week I can get it on the road, and I already put the insurance on it. But yeah, I'm going to restore it because it's much like me. And just like me from that time frame, I was hot and heavy and hot to trot at one point, and maybe not so much anymore. So I'm gonna rebuild this car, just like I'm gonna rebuild myself. And
will there be a golden bird on the hood?
No, because those are Firebirds. And
will there be a red light in the front that beeps back and forth? Possibly.
I'm looking into that. I know how to do it, but there's no cutout for that car unless I do there's hood vents there I could use, but I already looked at the LED lights for that. So yeah, that's my big announcement. So you might hear me talk about this every once in a while. My progress on fixing and restoring this car that I spent no money on because I don't have any money for a new car. So I have to get by. But instead of buying something like, hey, listen, I'm gonna get something reliable here and yeah, maybe economical. Like, nah, we're not doing that.
Is the engine good? You're getting questions. Is it run on one cylinder?
No, it runs on all 8, so it's a 5.7 liter. It's an LT1 engine. There might be a slight leak in the head gasket. I'm not 100% sure. It was smoking pretty terribly, but that seemed to fix itself. So I'm pretty happy about that. So hopefully, if everything runs the way it's supposed to, no engine lights. Although it was funny because I was getting everyone knows about the dreaded check engine light, correct? So.
Mm-hmm.
My check engine light was broken. So I ran the codes, and the only code in there was the fact that the check engine light was broken. So I took apart the cluster in the dash and replaced all the bulbs in it because apparently they had burnt out, and it fixed itself. So it's no more codes on it. So it should be running fine. But again, it's not on the road yet, so I still have to register it. But once I drive it around for an extended period of time, then I can see if there's any major issues with it, which I don't see it having. So it does not have an 8-track player, though, but it does have an Alpine stereo in it, so it's good to know. They make that car like the factory stereo. They remade it, but with Bluetooth capability on it, so that was pretty cool. So I might pick that up.
Shoot.
Nice. Now, are you gonna dress up or team up with a truck driver and go across country and
I do have a penchant for Smokey and the Bandit. It's probably one of my top 5 films, and it does have T-tops, so that's the thing. So tops do come off, so pretty excited about that. Alrighty, so where do you guys want to start this episode?
I think since Derek's here, start with his league. Get him going.
All right, Derek, go right ahead. You start us off.
Derek's gone. I looked up and Derek's gone.
Matt, why don't you start with the BRL then?
All right.
Well, I'll give you my news.
Oh, what's your news?
I accepted an invitation to the Army of Darkness.
Oh.
I am now AOD.
There it is.
You are really?
I am.
Oh my God.
I couldn't get SOS to give me anything other than a water boy job, and I didn't want. I've already done that.
I'm already the water boy. You're trying to take my position. All right, that's cool. And who else is in AOD with you?
Chuck Zietlow.
Okay.
Mr. Harrell. Dennis Hammock. Maurice Plant. After that, I'm not sure. I haven't met any of the other guys.
Okay. All right, well, congrats, and AOD will represent. Isn't Stablecade this cycle? It already happened. It probably already happened.
I think it's coming up now, but I don't pay attention to it because of like we kind of boycotted it a few years ago. Something weird happened with Stablecade where they kind of reran it, and we had won, and then they said they used the hold values for like the next cycle or something. They messed something up.
It was that cycle they ran the Jade numbers wrong or whatever it was, or the wrong holds. It was like they used bronze or jade or whatever it was, and
and then so we lost as a group by like 0.4 because they let people redo it. And I mean, maybe it's a hissy fit, but we just kind of as a group were like, we're not doing this anymore.
Well, here's my question about it, because I always wanted to do this. Now, what they do is they take the wrestlers you enter, and like each stable, like each player's top strategies are the ones that get entered in the scoring, right?
Sure.
Okay, because I had always planned to join. I won't name who it was. I was going to join their stable. We talked about this, and then I was going to tank my strats for the Stablecade to purposely, and then turn on the stable. I thought that would have been a phenomenal Ida Boy type turn, but it didn't happen. Oh well, that's all right. Well, anyway, Scott, congrats on joining AOD, the Army of Darkness. So do you want me to lead off with BRL still?
Yeah, why don't you go for it?
All right, let me pull BRL up here. All right, so in case you're wondering, the results from this cycle determine the winners of the pay-per-view for WrestleRama 12. I'll get into that later on. So, league champion with a whopping 494, proving that it's sometimes better to be lucky than good, Monster Truck Tanaka.
Unbelievable.
Wins $25 in credit. So, thank you. Our Battle Royal winner also winning $25 in Idaway credit, Toa Inoue. All right, so our tag champions for the fourth cycle in a row. There's been no other tag champions in the BRL this year. The Samoan Death Grip, the Samoan Assassin, and Toa Inoue. So, bang. Then we have the TV tag champions, Jebediah and Obadiah Bogtrotter. The six-man champions, the Samoan Assassin, Toa Inoue, and Stevie Vertigo, the old NWL Syndicate. The BRL TV six champions, Agent 26 and the McFlaherty brothers. So, interesting. A lot of rivalries there. So, TV champion, the author of Agony, LePage Turner.
Ooh.
Yay me. Central Plains champion, Canada's strongest man, Gordon Donovan, who also won a flag match against U.S. Male. Boo, Canada, boo. East Coast champion, Toa Inoue. Great Lakes champion, Kevin Von Atkinson. Mid-Atlantic champion, Stevie Vertigo. Northeast champion, Ross Von Atkinson. Pacific Northwest champion, Marshall Von Atkinson. Rocky Mountain champion, Jebediah Bogtrotter. Southeast champion, Fenris. Southwest champion, El Rey Escorpion. And West Coast champion, the Samoan Assassin. I just want to kind of quickly recognize that other than Turner, Tanaka, and Donovan, actually, no, I'm sorry. Other than Turner and Tanaka and Vertigo, every regional champion is part of a tag team. So just kind of interesting. Like a lot of time you look at the tag team flows or like whatever, and just, Holly, like, oh, well, like for me, when I do a match sheet, I almost always put my singles wrestlers against tag wrestlers. Because I just figure, well, I'll take the points at the back end, So So interesting that's this cycle. That's how it played out. So a lot of choices to be made by those folks running those guys. The BRL results for the pay-per-view, which I have actually not posted yet. So I will. Hold on. Is that it? No, that's not it. That's not it. I put it down so I wouldn't forget. No, I did. The hell's that? Oh, here it is. Okay. Now I can read my own chicken scratch. So this was WrestleRama 12 from Tokyo, and the write-ups are in the works. So I got to plow through this write-up issue. But this is the Royal Rumble write-up, so it's going to be time-consuming. So the Global Championship match between Agent 26 and Double R Rob Ratliff. Agent 26 won 489 to 488, so Agent retains. The Samoan Death Grip had a draw with the Salt and Pepper Express. They retained, SEG did. The Mannequins defeated Death Row, who were inactive, apparently. That sucked. Let me see here. Reading my own chicken scratch. Oh, yeah. Moss Truck Tanaka retained the North American Championship over Greg Gannar and Hillbilly Kevin. Mark Justice beat Warp Slayer to earn the title shot, as did Oliver Livingston. So Oliver Livingston and Mark Justice will challenge for the North American title next cycle, or next pay-per-view, rather, sorry. Gordon Donovan beat U.S. Mail. Donnie Bloodstone defeaed Hawaiian Heartthrob. LaPage Turner defeated Punk Rock Mike in an I Quit match. Wait to see that right up. Stevie Vertigo defeated Steel Cutouts. And I have a mystery match I'm writing for Tsuyoshi Mazuku. I hope I say that right. Let me know if I don't. Then, of course, we had the title shot match. The Hillbillies defeated Polar Circle. And the McFlahertys beat the... oh, my God. I can't read my scratch. But they are in the shot for next time. So another rematch between McFlahertys and Samoan Death Grip. And I'm not going to say who won the Rumble. That's going to be something else to read when we write it. But we know who won it. And it's going to be a lot of fun to write up. So that's the BRL info.
Man, I do. I do, in fact, think that. So next up, we're going to do the IWL, Independent Wrestling League.
Well, Alex, I hope I'm not bringing shame onto your legacy when I give these write-ups and results.
Never.
So here we go with the IWL, the league champion, Blackjack Robertson, television champion, the Chameleon, New York City champion, the IWA Warrior.
That's
a little
interesting.
Bit of pandering there. I have maybe I won't tell it now. I'll tell it later. Los Angeles champion, Shotgun James Carnage, the Boston champion, Ultimo Astro, Detroit champion, Pop Culture Peter Cross, Cleveland champion, Galim Tersambayov. I hope I got that right. Dallas champion, Hollywood Kid, Memphis champion, Alec Von Snap, the Miami champion, Suyu Pai, the San Francisco champion, Christopher Destruction, and the Chicago champion, Axel Von Snap. And then we have the league tag team champions, the Americanos, TV tag team champions, the Astros, and then league six-man champions, the Von Snaps, the TV six-man champions, the Michigan Border Patrol, and then our Battle Royal winner, Suyu Pai. I will go on with our Matt Mania results. I will start from the beginning to end. Our friend Bucking Buck Farmer lost in the hog pen match to Hombre Muerto Ziris. Very close. Death Valley Drifter over Alex Arriba Armas. Excelente Ostro defeated Andrew Ace Armas. Duke Smack Talker found his Huckleberry, Ultimo Astro. Ultimo Astro wins with 494. Magnifico Astro and Achilles Leon. Achilles Leon win. It's a weird. It was a 487, 463. So I'm thinking there's something wrong with that one. In a swamp fight, Nehemiah Bogtrotter was defeated by the Cobra Riley Orton. Sinister Strong Brutal defeated Joseph Redgrave. And then in the contenders matches, the Regulators defeated the Litigators. They will be the number one contenders for the World Six-Man Tag Team titles. My Two Dads defeated Brady Buckshot and the Shotgun Kid. So they will be the number one contenders for the World Tag titles. On to our title matches. The Von Snaps are the new IWL World Six-Man Champions, ending the Michigan Border Patrol's reign. A long, long reign. The Grammar Police retained the IWL World Tag titles over the Amazing Graces. The Chameleon defended the IWL Multinational title against Ali Atari and Johnny WrestleFest. And then in our main event, Suyu Pai defeated Steel Cut Oats to retain the IWL World title. So that was our big happenings in the IWL this cycle. The Matt Mania write-up will come in the next bulletin.
Woohoo!
Yes.
All right. I dig it. So did you have a story about the IWA Warrior?
Oh, so we were talking before we started recording about, wrestlers named after the company or whatever. And did you guys probably played in other play-by-mail games? Like we talked about FWA and different things, but I played in one called it was Computer Championship Wrestling.
Yes.
And I found out about it in Wrestling World magazine.
Yep.
And they only had maybe 3 or 4 leagues that they brought up. I can't remember what the first one was, but the second one was the Cosmic Gold League, and then they had the Fire and Ice Federation. But the reason I'm telling you all that is to tell you that I made my wrestler the CCW Brawler because I thought if I pander a little bit, maybe the company will shine brightly on my strategies. And then it was one of those things where I won the World Tag Team titles with the guy Spike, a random tag team. And it just stuck with me. I don't know how that game worked. I can't remember anything about it. I just remember the leagues weren't as
robust.
You might have like 30 or 35 people in a league, all active, and maybe, only a couple titles in each league. So it was a completely different game. And I like I said, I haven't ran across anyone who's played it.
I did.
Okay. Do you remember what league? Do you have anything from it? Do you remember anything about it?
I do remember a lot from it because there's a guy named Matt Creamer I became friends with. We were blood enemies in that game.
Yeah.
And I always think the first time I got on Johnny B's real good side is in my promo in the GML. I trashed it because they lost my money or something like that, and I didn't get anything for 3 months. And I wrote them a letter what happened to my stuff? So they became all apologetic and they got me back on board, whatever. But I had the Bostonian there, and he was feuding with Matthew X, who was this emo 80s guy, I guess. Looking back. And we feuded we were the only 2 guys in the league really trash talking a lot. So we kept going at each other and had this big feud. And I got him to join the IWA eventually because I didn't like that game. But I want to say we never won the titles. We were terrible. I was terrible at the game.
What year was this?
88, 89.
Maybe I don't really. Yeah,
maybe in the early 90s.
There was another one I played that Zach Gargis played called the Fantasy Wrestling Alliance, but it was a PH. And that was
I heard of that one.
It was in the mid to late 90s, around the time of the NWO. But the thing about the fantasy one was they would print the entire Wrestling Observer in their bulletin. And I don't know how. Yeah, I wish I had them to show you because it was I was getting them and getting all this insider wrestling news. And I'm like, what is this from? And it was the very early days of having the internet. So It was where is all this coming from? I didn't know what it was. It didn't even say, hey, this is the Observer. It just printed it. And they had maybe they were more a monthly thing than a cycle, 3-week thing.
Right.
They probably did 10 cycles a year, basically, because sometimes they came in between months or combined things. But that group was out of Houston. It was Tri-J Communications. And I've tried to call the company a million times. They still have a number on file, but I never get an answer because I just do you guys know what this is? Do you remember doing this? Because
can I have my money back?
This was Yeah. Well, it was a thing I did when I was in 8th grade for like, I don't know, 6 or 7 months, because it was in not Wrestling World, but it was in one of those other like fringe magazines. And I probably paid like at most $50, let's say, over the whole time of it. But it's one of those things that's like, it's kind of like IWA. If it wasn't still going on, it'd be one of those things just like lost in the world, you know?
It's funny because I have like a lot of those magazines scanned as PDFs, which I probably should put in a Google Drive so you guys get access to it.
Absolutely.
So I'll probably do that at some point in the near future. But I'm curious about what Johnny B thought of the competition from back in the day, and there's any interesting stories about dealing with the competition back when there was some. So I'm curious about that.
There was a couple of them, because the one was called Computer Wrestling Federation, which was one where like they grouped you geographically.
Really?
That was another one I played, because like in West Virginia was a weird place because it's just a weird place, but it wasn't like Northeast, it wasn't Midwest, it wasn't Mid-Atlantic, it wasn't Southeast. It's like it could have been any of those things, you know.
For sure.
So it was a weird. That was how they tried to group you, and they never knew quite where to put my guys. So that was like, I just always found that interesting. Just stupid stuff,
All right. So next up, let's do. You want to do NWL?
Sure.
Let's do NWL.
All right. Let me pull it up here.
For whoever loves Canada, Canada does need more rum or more run. That's what I want to know, because it may need both.
All right. Well, let me take a swig here.
A mango cart.
All right. First off, starting off with Cycle 215, the New Wave League, formerly known as the National Wrestling League. Alex.
Son of a bitch.
I
think I'm gonna get a petition together to rename the league.
There you go. Mike Rampage Sanders.
Oh,
so well done. TV champion Slapshot Chris Samaki. Central Plains champion the Reprobate Lanny Teague. East Coast champion El Grandioso, one of my favorite names. Another of my favorite names, Great Lakes champion Double D Christoph. Middle-Edge champion, Starlight. Northeast champion, Greg E. Money. Pacific Northwest champion, John Holland. Rocky Mountains champion, Derek Cash Styles. Southeast champion, He-Man Hoven. Southwest champion, Thomas T.D. Banks. And West Coast champion, A.J. Hammer. Tag champions, The Reprobate, Lenny Teague, and Starlight. TV tag champions, Derek Cash Styles and Thomas T.D. Banks. And then we have the 6-man mixed crew here of El Bandolero, The Last Gunfighter, Chance Chambers, and Bullwhip Billy Burns. It sounds like they're going to head to the Western Trails League someday.
Yeah.
TV 6 champion Starlight, Dr. Stephen C. Farr, and the Reprobate Lanny Teague. And the Battle Royal winner, El Grandioso. So congrats to all those guys. And we have a really good crew right now. I know it's a smaller crew than we're usually used to, but it's a solid crew. Like really good TT, some feuds going along, storylines. Which brings me to the announcement of the official new class of NWL Hall of Famers. So once a year, we add to this crew. So I just kind of go over the people. Let me see here. Hold on, that's the wrong page. Where did it go? Where did it go?
I like He-Man Hoven's TT, by the way.
Oh, He-Man Hoven, which if you look at the picture carefully, oops, when I make up these characters in the system, I often will do is I'll have a match and I'll still image them. So when you have somebody come out and like the second wrestler comes out, the first wrestler kind of stalks around the ringside, so you can see Barry Stevens behind He-Man Hoven.
Just chilling.
Just sulking.
Just waiting around, sulking, like, oh, man. All right, so this is the new class now. We don't always add every year. Like 2012, I didn't add anybody. But here's our 2013, the newest member. You'll be happy to know it's Rock Hard Rod Cox.
Oh, my gosh.
That's right. Do any words? You want to talk about your time in NWL, Derek?
Oh, my gosh. So before I came back for the long term, I came back in like 2012 for a little while with Rock Hard Rod Cox. That was fun. Didn't really know what I was doing, but that's my first guy back, and he won a league title in NWL, and I think the NWL is such a good idea for new players, like people coming back and new players, just to kind of ease back into the game or like learn the game. So that's awesome.
Yeah, it was when I had the Teamster, I made it a running joke where he was obsessed with Rock Hard Rod Cox, and he was always like, everyone knows I love Rock Hard Rod Cox.
Yeah.
In 2014, our newest member is Robbie Blood.
Oh.
Who was very active, and a lot of this is these figures who kind of help make the year work. When I was thinking about like the various characters here, because to an outsider, you might look at these characters and be like, oh well. They don't have as many points as this guy or that guy. Yeah, they don't, but they were pivotal to the league, like kind of moving along and things developing. 2015, Dr. Slam. Alex is a big fan of Dr. Slam.
I am. I slammed, therefore I am.
Was 2015 your first year running the NWL?
I think it was earlier.
Yeah,
2014.
Maybe.
Yeah. I started playing in 13. So.
Yeah. I figured out quick I could scam you into running it.
I was the only one left.
2000. It was that or Frank Snow, so really. 2016, our new member is Big Blank number 1.
Oh.
One of the top all-time scorers, and the Blank family were in power for quite a while. Then, yeah, get out of here. 2017, the new member is Keelan Crash Wendorf.
Oh.
Who was part of that really. 2017 was a really good year for the NWL. Lots of good players. And it's funny, if you actually look at the list on the page in the NWL, it's page 47 in the report. You can see like some of the information scores-wise, but like it's almost like a snapshot of some of the big players each year. So 2018, one of my favorite wrestlers that faded out too quickly, the Patient Stalker.
Ah, yes.
And what I liked about that guy's promos, he would do these promos where he was... where he was watching other people do their promos from like a distance, and it was written like a creepy stalkerish thing, and you didn't know who he was going to go after next and all that. But he was really good for a short time, and then he just vanished, unfortunately.
Yeah, he wasn't like a medical patient stalker. He was a patient man who happened to stalk people.
Right. Yeah. So, 2019, the Trust Fund, Carson Wingate.
Oh
yeah, he was a fun one.
Is that Jason Davis?
Yes. Another one, unfortunately, left the game too quick. 2020, we have Love Burger joining. Love Burger from the Love Connection there was this guy called Mr. 305 who was like a kind of a Miami-based MVP type character, and he would do his promos from his club. So one of my favorite promos I ever saw was the Love Burger promo. Starts off with him going like Mr. MVP, whatever, 305, going to his club, and everything in the club's upside down. So everything was like nailed to the ceiling. It was just a bizarre but fun interview or fun promo. Moving along, 2021, the newest member is the Hebrew Hammer, Larry Horowitz.
Yes.
He was written up as if he was Barry Horowitz's son and had Barry Horowitz at ringside with him. And he was just like this kind of like, young up-and-coming star, good guy. It was just fantastic. And then Stevie Vertigo turned on him. It was great. 2022, we have a couple of names here. We've added your everyday hero, Oliver Livingston, who had the fantastic promos where it would always be like this random situation where he'd be out in public, like at the skate shop, and some kid would fall off a skateboard. And he'd grab him and save him from a bus getting hit, A lot of fun. We have Zanroar, Zanwar in the IWL now, he did some great promos as kind of the He-Man, I don't know what you call him, a Conan the Barbarian type guy. Yeah. And then, of course, Mark Justice, who had the fantastic feud he was part of Honor Revolt. And then he turned on them and joined Death Row. Just phenomenal. Became part of Dishonor Revolt. Really good stuff. And then our 2023 class, the first 4 members are Norman the Loon Kevkis, Future Man, Principe Oscuro de Sangre, and the Grey Wolf, Doug McMaster. So congrats to all those guys for making that Hall of Fame. So we'll do this again in a year. So
congratulations.
Thank you all. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Fantastic. I dig it. All right. Next up, I'll do the CWL Continental Wrestling League number 318. League champion Nature Boy Phil Landers. TV champion Mike Drake. United States champion Future Man. Yukon champion Mike Mason. Caribbean champion Elise Rutledge. Amazon Base champion Yuka Puddings. British Isles champion Bloodsucker Mosquito. Arabian champion Professor M. Algernon. South African champion Sundog Taser. Siberian champion Vincent Torrio. East Asian champion Alex Von Schnapp. Oceania champion Cobra. League Tag Team Champions Johnny the Wrench Morello and Vincent Torrio. TV Tag Team Champions Axel and Alex Von Schnapp. League 6-Man Champions Axel, Alex, and Alex Von Schnaps. TV 6-Man Champion Nutty Bunny 1, 2, and 3. And your Battle Royal winning 25 free CWL matches, Vincent Torrio. So they're coming off their latest pay-per-view, which was Vindication. Was the pay-per-view, and they had such great 5-star classic matches as the Zodiac Horoscope taking on the Red Scorpion. We had Professor Algernon taking on Barry Stevens and Thrash. We had JGC versus Big Bad Bob versus Muriel Puddings and versus Yoka Puddings. We had American Patriot versus Zeb Martin. Devon Stops versus Immortal Dynasty versus the Nutty Bunnies. And we had the Von Stops taking on Millennial Reigns. We had Fabulous Harry Hurt taking on Hot Stuff Eddie Gilmore and the CWL World Title match. And I guess we have one more too. We have the Chameleon taking on Mr. Terrible, Terry Reiser. But to the shock and awe of all the CWL, we have the return of late night Logan Kane back to the CWL. That son of a bitch. That's all I have to say about that. It might be the biggest return in the history of the CWL. I'll tell you that much. Well, Mike Mason's probably up there too, right? I'll say 1A maybe. Possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the CWL. Make sure you guys go out of your way to read not only the Blaze this cycle, but read that pay-per-view, because writing pay-per-views is long and hard. So don't ignore it. Read it, react to it, talk about it, do that kind of good stuff. Alrighty. What we got next? You want to do the Western Trails Heritage League?
I know who should do that.
All right, Scott, you're up.
It's not my league. I haven't been listening to you guys. I don't even have anything up.
All right, it's fine.
No worries. Go for it, Matt.
There it is. Okay. All right, so WTL number 90, Western Frontier Champion Geronimo. Lone Star Champion, Blackjack Robertson. Central Plains Champion, The Matrix. Mexico Champion from the Broncos, Brawl, The Gambler, Jackpots. Dodge City Champion, Rising Pizza Good. Oh, boy. That's not a Derek name, but it sure sounds like one. Tombstone champion, Mr. Excitement 2. Prairie View champion, the Outlaw Josie Wales. Widowmaker, Babyface Nelson. Badlands champion, 0010101, Mr. Code 101110. And Cripple Creek champion, Ordinary Obi Owens. Southwest champion, Zephyr. Chisholm Trails champion, Benji Buckshot.
That sounds gross.
And it is, yeah. And Western Frontier tag, Zephyr and Jahari. And then Steve Boston, Mid-South Maxwell won the Lone Star Tag Champs from AOD. And the Western Frontier Champs, Mr. Excitement 2, number 1, 2, and 3. And then 6-man champions, the Regulators, Texas Jesse Tombstone, Blackjack Robertson, and Shotgun James Carnage. And the Bunkhouse Brawl winner of $30,000, the Gambler, Jack Potts. And that's WTL right there. And there's some stuff going on. So
there's stuff going on.
Check the report. And yeah, there's lots of I will say this: we had a post in the Hideaway Dungeon the other day. I think it was Dan that posted it about talking about the abundance of AI generated trash talk and images and all that, and kind of saying, you know, I kind of made the point that I think that I'd rather see 3 to 5 lines, keep it simple, sweet, to the point, as opposed to like a full page of stuff that just kind of comes across very similar and really hard to like differentiate. So I will say, you know, when you're thumbing through these bulletins or like, you know, you're going through from page to page, you can forget what league you're in because they look identical. So I would just say, you know, while the AI has some good points to it, I would just tone it down and you know, be more on the money on it. You know, like, pictures are fine. You know, some of these guys look like insanely jacked dudes. Like this guy here, the dumpster Mo Heathcliff.
So AI is a very useful tool if you know how to wield it appropriately. Again, you want to do something outside the box. You really want to think about what you're doing in terms of concepts, because a lot of it is, you know, you writing descriptions down and that kind of stuff. And there's newer programs coming out that can help you do other things with AI. For example, what I just posted on the stream. So that is a picture of Luther Alexander and Tracy Lords as Superman and Supergirl. And you can tell that it's super different than your normal AI-generated type things.
Yeah.
So there's ways to do it. You just do your research, do your homework. You know, there's a lot of things you can do with AI that doesn't look all the same. It's getting better too. So again, just like we talk about when it comes to TTs or any of that other stuff, it's going to be only as good as how creative you are. And be creative. Like, think outside the box, look for something new, and you should be fine.
Nice.
Yeah, man. So I dig that. What do we got left? ASL? No. WTL?
Oh, let's see what's left here.
Black Widow League.
Black Widow League. Yeah, I can do that one. All right. Black Widow League number 33. Black Widow champion, Penny Punk. I think it's her second times champion. TV champion, Addison Killswitch. Battle Royal winner, Queen of the Ring, Arya Gunpowder. Japan Idol champion, Drusilla Dragon. Josie champion, Sarah B. Money. Zenjo champion, Queen of the Ring, Arya Gunpowder. Luchadores champion, Bandita. Cholitas champion, Francine Batafugli. Bellatrix champion, Batafugli. Bellatrix champion, Brenda Bring to Pain. Themyscira champion, Joya Pyro. Hollywood champion, The Wicked Spider, Erica Phobia. And the Sin City champion, Rudy Groove. And the Willowick champion is Wildfire Betty Red. Did I leave out? Yeah, I got that. Okay. So we just had a big pay-per-view. We're building towards the next one. So there's also the Lethal Lottery tournament going on. So This round, the team of Meat Train and Betty Red was facing Jeannie Briggs and Huntress, while the other bracket had Barbed Wire and Butterfugly versus Rudy Groove and Jersey Jen. So those will be out next cycle. Lots going on. So, be sure to get involved. How's that?
So, Matt, we do have a question in regards when the next Iwar draft is going to be.
Mind your business. I say that at work all the time. People ask me a question, I'll be like, you mind your business. The next Iwar draft will most likely be this summer. I just got to officially hammer down the official date with the other guys on the crew here. But looking at June or July, maybe even August, just because I need to have a cycle where I can actually write down the preview issue. And that takes time to develop it. So I need to get a rally point where I got to get, hey, who's going to be in the draft? And remember, if you want to be in the draft, but you're still in the NWL, you can get drafted and finish your time in the NWL before you get transferred out or go to a new league. It's kind of like baseball where players can finish their college careers before they go into the big time. But the Iwar draft is a blast. It really is. We didn't do one last year because we just had a lower number count and things were going on behind the scenes that were just really time consuming, so we postponed it. And so this year, our draft will be most likely, if I look at the Idaho schedule here, let me pull it up, that if we put into August 6th, if we did for August, would be a good date. And again, it's just plenty of time to plan ahead. Actually, August 6th would be a terrible date because I will be just coming back. Well, actually, maybe not. I'll be coming back from Gen Con. I just realized I'll be in Gen Con when we have our workshop. See if I can do it from remote again. But yeah, let's shoot for August, and we'll call it August. That gives us a good 7 cycles a show to get there. And that gives you time to finish your time out if you're someplace else. You can also make new wrestlers up if you want to. We allow that as well. If you want to make some new wrestler, you give us a bio, an avatar, and you say, here's what I want to, and build the history. So what you want to do really is make it, make your wrestler, whether they're new or existing, as appealing as possible. Because remember, this draft is real. There's no fix here. We don't do the draft and I'm going to pick this guy, you pick this guy. No. We do trades though. It's a shoot. You work yourself into a shoot. I remember Alex wanted the Chameleon, so I drafted him, and then he traded me for Arm.
Yeah, I think I traded an arm and a leg to get him too. If I remember, it was 3 wrestlers and a pick for the next year.
And just for what we do for the game part of it is, we have a contest for 4 cycles. Whoever can score the most points, whether it's league title, TV title, or a combination of them, or whatever, and that person wins the contest. So you have a first draft pick overall, but then you have kind of whoever scores the most points. So
apparently, Free Quebec will be number 1 this year.
Yeah. Look at that ring there. Where's the midget wrestling? I haven't seen that yet.
You can't say that on TV.
Oh, that's what it's called, Midget Mayhem. We kept saying that too when we were walking to the venue. I'm like, is it okay to call it that? And I'm like, that's what they call it themselves. It's they called micro brawling in other places, little brawlers, but it was called Midget Mayhem. Anyways, we'll get to that later. I think that's all of our leagues. Yeah, we covered them all. That's good. I can get to the Idaho events. Let me get that pulled up. So, Idaho events going on. As you guys can probably tell, I shouldn't do scores when I'm exhausted. There's a Johnny B mistake. It took me this is funny. So, I'm doing the results and my eyes are just killing. I'm I gotta go to sleep, but I wanted to get these done because I had guys emailing me, what's going on with the results? And I'm like, all right, I'll get it before I go to bed. So I set it up, do the scores, send it off, and then I think it was maybe with 20 minutes later, someone's like, I scored 480 something and they had a 470 something, whatever. And I was like, whoops. So I was like, all right, I'll fix it in the morning. And I go up, there's like 4 more emails from people like, this score was not right, whatever. I was like, oh boy. So I fixed all the scores. Like the Lethal Lottery tournament. We lose Derek?
We did. He drowned in the pool.
That's all right. He's yeah, he had to go deliver some Florida justice. So the teams that advanced, and the way we did the Lethal Lottery this time, it's by scores. I think it's a little more fair because that way you don't get a bad combo. You're kind of based, you do well, you do well. If you don't do well, it's a group effort. So the teams that advanced were Dark Danger, Jailbird Smith, and Swamp Sock Jr., Suyu Pai, Double D Christoph, and Flash Jack Ferdinand, Mike Drake, Punk Rock Mike, and Timothy Zastampowski, 2 Mikes and a Tim, Hawaiian Heartthrob, AJ Hammer, and Wolf, age of 26, Mark Justice, and Reprobate Lenny Teague, Steve Vertigo, Zeb Martin, and Black Jack Robertson, Uncle Randy, Mike Rampage Sanders, and Super Dragon, and then Mike Mason, Big Bad Bob, and JDC. So, those teams advanced. And again, these 8 teams, the top 4 scores move on to round 3, and so on. So we're cooking along. So the Murano next round matchups. Let me increase my screen size here. Okay, so round 2 will be Ricky Salt and Pepper against Artie Fishel and Benny Factor. Lanny Teague and Starlight taking on Ron Logan and Ace and Eights. We have James Carnage and Jesse Tombstone taking. Oh, I'm sorry, that's I read the wrong names. That is the Slices, Jimbo and Timbo. I'm not tired. You're tired. There you go, Johnny B. There's more things there. El Barbero and Red the Scorpion. The Astros, Ultimo and Excellente taking on the Von Schnaps. Then we have Buddy Donner and Hank Henkel getting a tiebreaker advancement over the Sun Dogs. The McFlahertys got past Mr. Smith and Pork Rind. We have Derek Stiles and Thomas Banks taking on Johnny Morello and Vincent Torrio. We have the Grace brothers, Justin and Chase from AWL, taking on the Samoan Death Grip. That's a tough one. The Nutty Bunnies, 1 and 2, taking on Doug McMaster and Gordon Donovan. So that's round 2 for the Idaway. For the Johnny B Cup, I'm not going to go through all the results or whatever, but we went through and dug out all the different scores. So that, again, just keep winning and be fine. If you notice an error, always let me know. I'm happy to hear from somebody who got the score right and fix it. The finals of the Best of the Best Series 15, Groundhog Day, is Hillbilly Kevin versus Norman the Loon Kevkis. And I wanted to mention one thing. I got a player. It was like, I got an email, and it's like, Idaway was like, Johnny Vegas is joining the Rumble in the Bronx. And I'm like, we haven't done one of those in years. And they were like, well, that's what he joined. So the guy emailed me himself. He's like, yeah, there's an event in the list. And like, oh, yeah, I meant to do the Rumble in the Bronx. I just thought it was in the idea stages. So I left it on the list of like short things. So what we're going to do is figure out when it will be. So that guy is automatically, Johnny Vegas will be in the event. But I do want to bring that event back.
The Rumble in the Bronx is the greatest extravaganza in the history of the world.
Why don't you talk about that and tell people what it was?
So the Rumble in the Bronx was this. It was in the NWL. It was like my first event that I want to say it was the first event. Yeah, I think it was the first big pay-per-view that I did. So it takes place at Yankee Stadium because Yankee Stadium is in the Bronx. And it's a battle royal, but the ring is in fact elevated an additional 8 feet off the ground. So when you throw your opponent over the top rope, it will do some major damage. So again, you don't want to get thrown out. If you do get thrown out, you will land on such things as broken glass, barbed wire, nails, Legos, and in fact, most importantly, live scorpions will be out there doing major damage to you. So that is the Rumble in the Bronx match and pay-per-view show.
Yes.
And then I tried to follow it up with Beantown Beatdown, which is from Fenway Park, and we did a scaffold match from the Green Monster with the blanks through Luther Alexander off of that. So.
Well, I think the last year we had the Rumble in the Bronx was the year the Teamster broke his back because he fell off the scaffold and landed on the ring post.
Like, people just died on that show too.
It's just pretty much, yeah.
The only commission that have had wrestlers die in their leagues, as a concept. So,
much Teamster, they rebuilt his back. It's fine.
They're okay. They're okay.
Don't forget too. We'll find out at the BRL pay-per-view. We'll find out who Hio the Teamster's real father is.
Oh.
It's been coming out. It's not the Teamster. So.
Is it Booty McGee?
Booty McGee. I grew up next door to a neighbor named McGee, so I find that very entertaining.
One half of the Big Booty Express, along with the incomparable Luther Alexander.
I've always had this hope in my back of my head that when you had Luther Alexander going, there would be a mystery challenger, or Luther's mystery partner, and Booty McGee would come out.
Well, there's a couple. No. There's a couple of them early on. There's Poi Pounder too, the Hawaiian heartthrob. I guess he was.
Oh my God, I remember him.
Yeah,
I forgot all about him. Poi Pounder. Wow.
So, do you want to talk about the midget wrestling league?
You got it up?
Hold on. I do.
All right. So I'm going to preface this by saying that one of my good friends, Stacy, her son's 11, and his dad got deported, so it's a really hard situation. So I've been kind of I help out a lot and do things, and so he wanted to go to a wrestling show. And this is literally footage from my phone. That's how close we were to the action. And you actually can see that, some of the people I'm with, they're in the shots. Doing the worm. This is advertised as an all-ages show. As my friend Lori, I kept screaming, all ages! Because it was so not all ages. It was just, the second word was, I think, motherfucker. When the guy came out and he's like, hey, motherfuckers! I'm like, oh, no. Because you could just tell right off the bat, the host.
Yeah.
And the host, not only did he just stream of swearing and cursing, sexual innuendo. That first guy with the little parakeet head was super, super horny. This picture right here, this guy did the stink face. And the best part of the video, it's on my Facebook page and it's on my Instagram, is the crowd reaction. Because the women in the crowd, they go from ha 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 to murder movie screams. Just horror movie, when you start stink facing people. And then let me tell you, walking away from the event and having to explain what a stink face is not fun. What you pay a hooker in Queens is one thing, but when you're watching it wrestling. But it's my poor friend's kid. You can't really notice it, but there's a part, and it's coming up in a second. It's right there. If you've ever seen Step Brothers, and the scene where he's making fun of his brother at the recital, and they start saying, Brendan has a mangina, Brendan has a mangina, and the crowd turns against him, and the parents are chanting it too. That was her son, because he was screaming, hit him with a chair! Hit him with a chair! Hit him with a chair! It was just it's not that bad. I mean, I just think from my perspective of all the advertising was like silly, wacky fun, family friendly, all ages. And you get there and everything's sexual innuendo. And that parakeet guy kept humping the ring post. He was humping the ropes. He was humping the ref's leg. It was what's going on. There was another guy that came out and he did a 10-minute promo, which was 9 minutes too long. And all he did was talk about banging the women in the audience and graphic detail, and was what is going on? And there were kids everywhere. This wasn't I would say though, the over-under on the number of ankle bracelets is probably 20.
Nice.
Good chance. It was a great crowd where you're oh, some people in here have spent time overnight in jail. And not because they were visiting. So it was a fun time, but it was just not what it was advertised to be. I don't know. It's funny. There's actually 3 groups in New England that run these shows, and there's like Micro Brawlers, there's Midget Mayhem, and there's a third one. And I don't know if it's as competitive, like they share talent or not, but apparently there's enough people of that size to do it. So it was a fun time. It really was. But I got to bring him to like, quote unquote real show.
You gotta take him to like a WWE show or something.
Yeah, something like, or if AEW comes back, or even like there's a lot of good independent groups in the area that run every so often. That like I remember the last time I went to a show was actually in my town, about a mile from my house at a school, and Carmelo Hayes was still called Casanova something.
Right.
And he was like on the show, and I turned to my friend and I said, that guy's gonna be in WWE in like 5 years, and sure as shit he was. Like he was like by far the best wrestler on the show. And he and this other guy, I don't remember the other guy's name, but they had like this, really, really good match. And it was like, oh, okay. So, when he became, I remember seeing him in NXT, and like, I know that guy, or I remember that guy. Let me look at my list of things here. Did that. Yep. Talked about that. Oh, well, while we're on the topic of first shows, what was Johnny B's first pro wrestling show? And did Johnny B ever pull strings, because he was the man behind the IWA? And we know guys like CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson, Hurricane Helms were players, and there's more than that. But I'm always curious if you ever used string. It's like, I got to tell you, if it was me, and if I got hired by AEW, you can damn well bet if we went to Cleveland, I'd be leaving 4 ringside seats for the Johnny B IWA crew, and then I'd have Nyla Rose crash into the. All right, now listen. There's a guy in the front row. He's in a big IWA shirt. Destroy him. Make him bleed. Talked about that.
He'd be there with a big "I dig that" sign in the front row.
Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of the show, I guess. How are we doing on time? How long have we been going now?
It's probably 35 minutes too long.
Good. Yeah. So when it comes to IWA wrestlers or Iwar Creation Lab, just send me your stuff. I've got 3 wrestlers left to do right now. So I've been working on different ones. So Hogan was the last one. Sorry?
So what was the last couple you're working on?
Well, the last one I finished was Hoven.
Yeah.
And the next, I'm doing one Dooku, but the guy went inactive, so I'm going to email him and say, hey, you still planning to stick around? I'm not going to spend time making a character if he's not going to be around.
Right.
And then there is Slapshot, Chris Samaki, and Brooklyn. I forget his last name now. They're a tag team in the NWL. They're actually, I can look it up right now. I have it here. It's a tag team, which I always like. Yeah. Oh, that's not them, though. Where is it? It's Chris Samaki and Brooklyn Gregory Sanderson. So they're a tag team. So and what's good about that is when they're in a tag team or stable, I can do group pictures or do group entrances. So that makes it easier to grab images. And what I generally do, kind of behind the scenes, is I make the character and I send you kind of the rough first take on it, and I'll kind of go off what you give me, and then you give me your feedback, and I edit it again. Then I throw it back to you and say, what do you think? And usually I get a tweak this, tweak that, quick fix. And then what I'll do is once that's kind of done, I'll record a screen capture video of like a wrestling match and them coming out. And depending on what you if they're heels, I give them heel entrance. If they're good guys, I give them good, babyface entrance. And then I take that image or that video, I put it onto a flash drive, bring it to my computer, and then I edit it up. And I probably get like 5 to 10 images, and I send them over to you. So usually by the time it's in stone. It goes back to my days of when I was doing like web classes, like web-based training.
Pornhub.
And same approach where I would meet with an expert, SME. We sit down, we talk about what we're doing. He'd give me the rough notes. I'd take the notes. I'd build the class and give them kind of a bare bones run through. And I'd say, what do you want to do here? They give me their notes. I take it, I apply it, I go back with them. So it's kind of the same process, just bang through. Like AJ Hammer was awesome to design because he was a fun character, had a really cool design for his outfit. He had color code, like color combos really helped me because if you tell me like I want my character to have like a black and gold or silver and black or red and green or whatever it may be, you know, or if you want a certain look, if you want them to have like, you know, leather pants or you want them to have, you know, Kurt Angle type tights, I can work with that, you know, and I can make the color combos work. Some characters are harder than others. Like when I did Zydrate, he was hard to do because he had a face mask on his face that they didn't really have that type of mask available. So I had to work around like editing, and getting it to work. But the more detail you give me, the faster I can get it back to you. I'm going to try to get it back by the end, like before this cycle plays out, if I can do it. I haven't played Red Dead Redemption in like a month and a half, so I'm getting rusty, I'm sure. But no, the more details you give me, the better I can get this turned around, and I'll try not to make mistakes like Eamon Oven, where I have other wrestlers in the background. What I generally try to do is have the images just be of the wrestler themselves. And if your wrestler has a manager figure, if you can give me something to work with, I can make them too and have them like, you know, pose together. But yeah, I'm happy to do it. It just takes time to get there.
Yep.
So Iwar draft, events, summer stuff's coming up in probably a couple months, so it won't be very much time before we have the signups for the summer events. And what's nice is we try to keep things going. So like if you get knocked out of this tournament, well, the next one's around the corner. And some of the events are invitation, so what I try to do is do it by people activity. But I will tell you the next Lethal Lottery will have a live drawing again. Because, you know, that's better that way.
I dig it, man. I dig it. All right, so looks like we are officially out of time. So,
well, unofficially.
Well, not yeah. Well, shut up. Step over
okay,
my
Camaro boy.
Well, at least I didn't get an IROC.
IROC.
So
you would fit in here up at Revere Beach.
Oh, I had to get like remember the Playboy necklace. Like I would wear that and a members
the logo.
Only. Yeah, with the logo and the members only jacket. I would wear. So,
what if you get a mural of like Knight Rider and Michael Hasselhoff or David Hasselhoff rather?
I mean, I would
Michael Knight.
I would get a tattoo of Michael Knight. I actually watched like 6 episodes of that the other day. It's fantastic. I would get that actually tattooed on my back. I was actually looking. I was looking for that year Trans Am. I couldn't find one. I did find the Bandit like replica, but it was $20,000, which I don't in fact have. So maybe one day. But and then you know, it's gonna be fun. So
all right,
guys. So for Scott Franklin, for Derek Tuttle, for Matt Riley, I'm Alex G. Have a good night.